Welcome back to the Great Oscar Race. When we last kicked it off, we had to wait on several strikes to resolve. Along the way, some films shone while others wilted under the spotlight. But at this elimination point, only 5 films or performances will remain. Who will make it in time? And who will be sent home? It's time to find out as the Great Oscar Race continues now. Hey Ticket Squad, this is Tickets Place Reviews with your look at the elimination spot. All the nominations have been leading up to this. A golden ticket to an Oscar nomination. The life, dreams of many actors, writers, and directors, but only the precious few can get one each year. So who gets one today? It's time to find out. In case you hadn't guessed it, it's time for the Oscar nomination predictions of 2024, and this handy-dandy roadmap is where we'll find out who makes it and who goes home to wait until next year. Note, we have moved up the other Best Pictures to behind the Acting Awards, and here we go. For Best Picture, things feel quiet. A little too quiet as the PGA 10 appears to be the best bets for nominations. In most years, it's more like 8 or 9 out of 10. So let's try to determine who misses the cut. Half of these films feel completely safe. Oppenheimer, Killers of the Flower Moon, Barbie, Poor Things, and The Holdovers. The second tier should be safe, consists of American Fiction, Maestro, and Cannes champion Anatomy of a Fall, which leaves 2 titles: British foreign film The Zone of Interest and indie romantic drama Past Lives. If War on the Street from Variety means anything, Zone appears to be popular and tended to end up high in multiple ballots. Look at the preferential system, that could be good news for A24. And bad news for the studio as well, as nothing has transpired for Past Lives as far as a wow factor. Looking back at December when we explored Ninja Boy's system, including his predictions, Past Lives was one of 7 films that made both the NVR and AFI lists. But then as now, the question remains on where else does that film end up on the Oscar ballot. Other than original screenplay, I don't see a viable path for Past Lives. So who takes it on the Oscar ballot? The Color Purple? If anything, their race has been like the Titanic after hitting the iceberg. Missing predecessors everywhere, more discussion on poor pay, and having to drive to meet and greets and less on its merits. Although it was one of 5 films that won the SGA Ensemble nominations, would you be surprised if they ended up empty-handed on January 23rd? I wouldn't. May-December. It started out promisingly for the Netflix film as Charles Melton got awards love, which spread to Julianne Moore in its script. But since the BAFTA long list, it's gone nowhere, not even giving love from the SJs either. It appears to be original screenplay or bust for that one now. As for the other films cited by the award boards, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse will just have to settle for multiple nominations elsewhere. Outside Penelope Cruz hitting SGAs, Ferrari seems to be roaring only in the sound category. The Iron Claw got pinned to the man nearly going, and The Boy and the Heron is likely to get in for animated feature and possibly score. All of Us Strangers, its best chance was breaking through into BAFTAs, and although it did do that to an extent, it didn't stand out as a strong contender. Origin apparently is the make-good effort of Frances Fisher and company, who regretted the chaos that ensued last year after Andrea Riseborough crashed in Party for Best Actress, and both Viola Davis and Danielle Deadwyler didn't make the cut. But I feel like it's too muted in the case of 2.0 and 2.8, although the USC scripter nod for Ava DuVernay was interesting to say the least. At the end of the day, I decided the last nominee would probably go to Saltburn. Apparently, the Variety article hinted that it was being talked about by Oscar voters. Although it's not a critical darling, it does seem to have a similar love it or loathe it feel to another Best Picture contender from last year, Triangle of Sadness. And it does share a similar skewer the rich feel to its plot. I could see it getting enough love in the preferential ballot to make the final 10. And that's my Best Picture 10. Just missing are Past Lives, The Color Purple, Origin, All of Us Strangers, and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Now we take a look at Best Director. 3 people feel safe just hearing their name on Tuesday morning. Christopher Nolan for the film Oppenheimer, Martin Scorsese for Killers of the Flower Moon, and Alexander Payne for The Holdovers. His ascendancy seems to have gone with the increased feel that maybe this might be the contender to stop Oppenheimer from winning Best Picture. After that, I think it's going to be a combination of Greta Gerwig, Yorgos Lanthimos, Justine Treat, and Jonathan Glazer for those last two spots. It was quite rare to see the Producers Guild highlight two foreign films among its top 10, but I strongly suspect it will be Treat and Glazer that hear their names called on Tuesday morning, which means bad news for Greta Gerwig and Barbie and Yorgos Lanthimos for Poor Things. But they should get in for adapted screenplay, right? No, not for Lanthimos, who didn't write a script, but at least he got a producer credit for the film, which should make Best Picture. And now we'll start the category for acting with Best Actress. I got high confidence Emma Stone is in, and despite being snubbed by BAFTA, so is Lily Gladstone. And although there are usually one or two actors that get shorted by an Oscar nomination after getting an Ellis everywhere else, I think both Carey Mulligan and Margot Robbie make the cut. So who's the other contender? Although I don't see her double dipping on the 23rd, I think I can put in Sandra Hüller here for Anatomy of a Fall. Which means bad news for Annette Bening, Fantasia Barrino, and Greta Lee as the bubble bursts. For Best Actor, we got 4 actors who have made all 4 benchmarks of an SGA nomination, a BAFTA nomination, a Golden Globe nomination, and a Critics' Choice nomination. Did they all make it in the final 5? Yes. Yes, they did. Paul Giamatti, Cillian Murphy, Bradley Cooper, and Coleman Domingo should all make the cut. And that 5th and final one, Jeffrey Wright, who just missed BAFTA, having made the long list, but not the final nomination list. Which means we got bad news for Leonardo DiCaprio, whose SGA snub was a warning sign, Barry Keoghan from Saltburn, and Andrew Scott, whose opportunity slammed shut when he didn't make the BAFTA nomination list either. The Best Supporting Actress category might as well be sponsored by Marie Kondo because she loves mess. Although 3 actresses got in everywhere, I think Danielle Scott from The Color Purple will miss out because that film will miss everything on Tuesday. So that leaves Divine Joy Randolph and Emily Blunt. Who's next? I think Jodie Foster from Nyad will make the cut. One thing that really caught my attention was the fact that it's been 30 years since she has been nominated for an Oscar. I think it's going to probably end here. The Saltburn Surge should open the door for Rosamund Pike. And for that last one, there are some contenders. But I'm going to take a big swing here, as I think Erica Alexander from American Fiction gets that final spot. Thanks to the increased momentum of the picture, with a distinct possibility of 2 acting spots elsewhere, I think she slides in. Other than Scott, others who'll miss will be Penelope Cruz from Ferrari and America Ferrera from Barbie. Over in Supporting Actor, the 3 R's didn't miss any of the precursors, and they're not going to miss a nomination here. Robert Downey Jr., Ryan Gosling, and Robert De Niro. After that, Sterling K. Brown appears fine after making the SJ list, and much like Alexander did for Supporting Actress, I'm going with a film with a hot hand for Supporting Actor, Dominic Sessa for The Holdovers. Which means both Poor Things actors, Wayne Dafoe and Mark Ruffalo, are out because of vote splitting and because the Guild couldn't decide which one deserved it. I don't think either one gets it. And Charles Melton for May December does not get in either. Over an animated feature, it's been a 2-film race the entire time, and I can't think of a single reason why Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse or The Boy and the Heron miss out here. I think that field fills out with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, Pixar's Elemental, which missed at the Best Picture equivalent of Annie's but seems to be sold elsewhere, and Netflix's Nimona. Not making the cut or Wish, the Super Mario Brothers movie, Beaches, and Robot Dreams. For documentary feature, it's been the case in the past that heavy favorites sometimes fail to make the cut. But after getting burned for Summer of Soul in the past, I'm not going to buy it anymore. It's going to have to prove me it's going to miss. Thus, I will have American Symphony showing up here with 20 Days at Mariupol, a timely documentary that has a chance at a double nomination, and Beyond Utopia. The last two movies that get in are The Eternal Memory and Bobi Wine, The People's President. Missing here are still a Michael J. Fox movie, which apparently has won an Emmy already, yet it's still here. Going to Mars, the Nikki Giovanni project, and Stamped from the Beginning. As for international feature, this is a case of too many good films for the spots. I do think The Zone of Interest and Society of Snow, which are going to get nominations elsewhere, will make the cut here, as does Double Dipper 20 Days at Mariupol. Rounding things out are Fallen Leaves from Finland, and Bhutan's The Monk and the Gun. Too many lists I've seen have been entirely European in nature, and that's not usually what happens here, as you usually have a film that comes from Africa or Asia or outside of Europe. So, what misses the cut? We got The Teacher's Lounge from Germany, Perfect Days, with a Japanese film that was directed by Wim Wenders, and Io Capitano from Italy. Alright, let's dive into the written word with adapted screenplay, another packed category with more scripts and spots. Although there has been some category confusion caused by the Academy ruling late that it was in fact adapted, I don't think Barbie misses the cut here. Joining it should be Oppenheimer, American Fiction, and Poor Things. I do predict a last-minute shock resolve as Strangers crashes the field at number 5. What misses the cut here are Killers of the Flower Moon, The Zone of Interest, and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I told you this was a stacked field. Now, over an original screenplay, I do have The Holdovers leading the way with both Past Lives and Anatomy of a Fall trailing behind. Also making the cut are Surging Saltburn and Bradley Cooper's Maestro, which means the bubble is burst for May-December, The Boy and the Heron, and Rustin. I honestly think The Boy and the Heron might have a chance to get in, maybe as a way of honoring the director Hayao Miyazaki. We'll just have to see how that goes, though. I think maybe there's just not going to be enough room, but hopefully I'm wrong on that one. Anyway, film editing, as always, is important if you want to be taken seriously as a Best Picture contender. Which should be good news here for Oppenheimer, Killers of the Flower Moon, Barbie, Poor Things, and The Holdovers, which make the cut. Not showing up here are Anatomy of a Fall, Maestro, and American Fiction. And as for cinematography, it's another category for usual suspects, Oppenheimer, Killers of the Flower Moon, and Poor Things. The category is filled out with the Surging Saltburn and ASC nominee El Conde. That would mark its only nomination here. But it's not something that... it wouldn't be a complete oddity to have a film just nominated there and nowhere else. What misses a cut are Maestro, The Zone of Interest, and Barbie. Next up is production design. I think it's another category for heavy hitters: Barbie, Poor Things, Oppenheimer, Killers of the Flower Moon, and, you guessed it, surprise January run, Surger, Saltburn. The bubble pops, however, for Maestro, Asteroid City, Maestro and Asteroid City. There we go. Sorry. I had Maestro there, Oppenheimer there twice, which is kind of odd. They do show up for production design. Okay? Alright. Somehow I deleted the sheet for makeup and hairstyling, but I think I did correctly write down as my predictions: Maestro, Poor Things, Oppenheimer, Golden Society of the Snow. As for Coda being here, that should mark as the sole nomination for the Helen Moran film. On the wrong side of the cut line are Killers of the Flower Moon and Ferrari. Over in costume design, I got Barbie, Poor Things, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, and Napoleon making the cut for nominations. Films in falling short would include Wonka, Maestro, and The Color Purple. Visual effects features a bunch of films that aren't up for anything else. Although there weren't any nominations in 2022 that made where that happened in 2020 and 2021, 3 films would get sole nominations for visual effects each year. This year, we got The Creator, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and Godzilla Minus One, all getting their sole nominations here. The other 2 are Poor Things and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Missing the cut here are Society of Snow and Napoleon. The sound category will include Oppenheimer, Maestro, The Zone of Interest, Barbie, and Napoleon. And that will mark 2 for the Ridley Scott epic. Missing the field would be Ferrari and Killers of the Flower Moon, 2 films which I think were favored, but apparently their clips had some issues. I managed to find that information out from Reddit, so credit there. Over in score, the 5 that I think will show up on Tuesday will be Oppenheimer, Killers of the Flower Moon, Poor Things, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, and The Zone of Interest. Which means the bubble burst for The Boy and the Heron, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, and Saltburn. Next up we got Original Song. I think the top 2 songs will both be for Barbie, What Was I Made For, and I'm Just Ken. Also making the field will be Rustin's Road to Freedom, done by Lenny Kravitz, Flaming Hot's The Fire Inside from Diane Warren, and Spider-Man's Am I Dreaming? A bit of a surprise there. Just missing the cut are It Never Went Away from American Symphony, Keep It Moving from The Color Purple, and Dance the Night from Barbie. And that will leave us with the shorts. Over an animated short, voters tend to vote for uplifting ones. I have Once Upon a Studio, a love letter from Disney to itself, along with Letter to a Pig, War's Over, 95 Senses, and Wild Summon on my top 5. Wild Summon made the cut in the BAFTA top 5 under British shorts, so I think it's got a shot here as well. Which means Pete, Eva, and Pachyderm are on the wrong side of the field. For a documentary short, it's a very stacked category full of positive and neutral documentaries. My top 5 are the ABCs of Book Banning, The Last Repair Shop from the same team that made A Concerto is a Conversation, Deciding Vote, The Barber of Little Rock, and Camp Courage. Missing the field would be Last Song from Kabul, If Dreams Were Lightning, and Between Earth and Sky. Finally, in live action short, we got some big heavy hitters coming up. The Anne Frank gift shop has Ari Grainer, while The Wonderful World of Henry Sugar has Benedict Cumberbatch and Ralph Fiennes. The Strange Way of Life is directed by Pedro Almodovar, and the After stars Oscar nominee David Oyelowo. All 4 show up here along with Yellow, which also got nominated from BAFTA. Not Making It or The Shepherd, The Time We Red, White, and Blue, and Good Boy. And let's explore the films with the top Oscar nominations. Leading the way is Oppenheimer with 13, followed by Poor Things and Barbie with 10 apiece. Killers of the Flower Moon have 9 nominations, and the top 5 are rounded up by the holdovers with 7. As you can see, we got Maestro with 6, American Fiction, Saltburn, and The Zone of Interest with 5. And on that note, that will conclude my nominations predictions video. Be sure to smash that subscribe button. It's free after all. Like the video and spread the word. Thanks for watching, and the prediction booth is now closed.